Yo, what is up guys? It's Sungod here, and today we're gonna be talking about 14.9 patch notes. A lot of changes have been made into the game, specifically throughout ADC items, bruiser items, and also like a lot of nerfs, a lot of buffs. Honestly, like those changes are definitely scary in the sense that they've really changed, like I would say like half of the game. Like ADC items are just super overtuned, and a lot of these changes don't really feel like they make a lot of sense, but we're definitely gonna check them out and see what we can say about them. So this is the patch highlights, so I'm pretty sure everyone already saw that, so we're directly gonna go to the items. So on the item side, we have Hex Drinker and Maw. So I'm just talking about this. They nerfed the magic resist that you get from Hex Drinker. I would say it is a justified nerf, even though like the item itself is still 1.3k gold. They also changed the recipe, which is fine. I'm not really sure why, but it's kind of whatever. As for Maw of Momotrius, they changed it because of Riven specifically. Freak talked about it in a video, and he basically said that Riven's win rate was high when the system of the game, so like essentially the items and the runes paired so well with the items. But what Freak forgot to mention is that the reason as to why Riven is weak right now is because of the items, but also because tanks are very overtuned. Riven has no armor pen in her kit, and to combat that, she often went for like Gore Drinker, Black Cleaver, and also Cyrilda's Grudge. But because we're only allowed to go Black Cleaver now, and not Cyrilda and not other items, she has a hard time against tanks like in the late game, and she is more of a champion that's gonna take like short trades with like Eclipse, Divine Sunder, and go for sustained fights. So I wouldn't say this changes so much. Like here, I even mentioned it. They brought back Omnivem to Maw, and they put some ability haste on it. While this change is fine, I don't think it's gonna do a whole lot for Riven or even Fiora. Death Dance. So the item recipe actually changed. So now it's the Steel Sigil, Coalfield's Warhammer, and a pickaxe plus 125 gold. I mean, not a lot of change, just like an extra pickaxe in the recipe. I guess that's fine. More AD, and the healing is increased. That's definitely gonna be good for Riven, but also a lot of the skirmishers. I'm talking about Aatrox, I'm talking about Fiora, I'm talking about Viego and all that, and also like Red Cane. Honestly, it could definitely work out. I think 75% healing is scary. Every time Death Dance has been changed or buffed, it's always been like very game breaking. Like Bruiser became like super sustained version of themselves, and they would stay like during in the fights for like way longer than they normally should. They essentially become like tanks, and I don't think like the 75% is gonna make that happen, but it could potentially. I just don't know how much 75% is without really testing it out. We'll see though. Sterak's Gauge. So the total price has been increased, and the lifeline cooldown increased as well. Honestly, doesn't do a whole lot. I feel like Sterak's is a very strong item on a lot of champions right now. But the fact that the total price is just increased by 200 and the lifeline cooldown is 30 seconds, I would say the big change is the 90 seconds. So people can't just die, spawn, and go back on a fight and still proc the Sterak's. They're probably gonna have to think twice before actually going for a fight now again. Definitely a good change. Actually, I would say this is a definitely positive change here. Thunder Sky. So this is an interesting one. The lightning strike per target cooldown has been increased to 8 seconds. As for the strike healing, has been decreased by 20%. We've seen that coming. Honestly, I would say Thunder Sky was like probably one of the only bruiser item that was pretty much good on every single bruiser slash skirmishers like Lee Sin, etc. I like the nerf on the healing, but as for the cooldown being 8 seconds, it's definitely like a little bit scary. I feel like the item is gonna go from A to S tier to like maybe B to C tier now. It's gonna be very situational. And why am I saying this? Because of the item changes and the rune changes. We'll see that on Twitter right after, but I'm scared that the item is gonna be like pretty much useless. You're essentially buffing Defense and Maw, but you're nerfing like one core item of a lot of bruiser. So we'll see how it goes. Eclipse. So the damage has been decreased by 2% for melees. Definitely a big change. Again, I think Eclipse was an okay item. I wouldn't say it was too strong. I think the strong part of Eclipse is mostly the shield you get, not necessarily the damage. I wouldn't say it was too overtuned. Like most of the bruisers definitely had to basically sacrifice the fact that you're not getting any lethality from Eclipse, and you're still paying 2,800 gold for a shield and some extra damage every 6 seconds. 8 seconds, sorry. So it is definitely like not really deserved nerf. It kind of comes from nowhere. Maybe they have like stats to back it up or not, but I don't think Eclipse is in a strong state right now. I think Eclipse is in a strong state because of Ingenious Hunter, and the same thing goes for Thunderous Kai. The fact that you could pair those two items together with Ingenious Hunter and proc it multiple times per fight was the reason as to why those two items were so strong, not necessarily because of the damage. So that's why. Champion changes. So we have Akshan. So the move speed is 20% of all ranks plus AP scaling. Okay. Then we have damage to non-champions. Okay, and the R, we have 5% more on the total AD. Wait, this is actually pretty huge for Action at least. Maximum damage per bullet. I would have to try it out. I'm not sure like how big of a buff the R is, but I would say it's quite a lot like during the mid game, because essentially like you're not really like getting a lot of AD like in the early game. Like if you're building Kraken Slayer, you're not necessarily getting like a lot of AD, but when you get IE or other items that really benefit towards Akshan having like a lot of AD, I would say like Ultimate is gonna hit like the truck, like coming in the mid to late game. I really like the fact that they basically nerfed the move speed on the Q, because it essentially made Action like so hard to like outkite, because he would just like hit his Q and then kite everyone to oblivion, because 40% is a lot, to be honest. Yeah, Belvith. Okay, so what do we have on Belvith? The bonus attack speed per stack is now at 0.28 to 1% from level 1 to level 17. Okay, so she will have like less attack speed. I think this is a good change. I've played like a fair share of Belveth, and she like coming in the late to mid game, like mid to late game, she would have like so much attack speed to the point that it wouldn't be rare for me to get over 4 permanent attack speed, which was completely crazy. Because you could just like get Baron, proc your passive with like all the extra minions, and then like you would literally be like a one-man army. You would just shred turrets, and people had to send like 3-4 people for you just to stop you. This is what made Belvith super super strong, and also because of the fact that like in the early game she is very strong at level 2/level 3, and she's a very contested jungler because of that, especially like in high elo. Alright, let's proceed. Cannon changes. Added a range indicator for the dame. Oh, so the damage radius has been moved to the E now, so like now you can see when you can proc the E. That's fine. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily a healthy change. I would say it's like when Kennen didn't have like the range indicator on his E, it basically made him like kind of skilled, I guess. They just want to do like, I guess they want to make it like more healthy. I don't know. A new animation has been added for slicing. Oh, this is actually super massive. So Kennen can now cast his ultimate while moving. Okay, this is the big change of Kennen actually, that he can cast his ultimate while moving. Because every time you would proc the R, you would stay still for like 0.5 seconds, which sometimes would let people like get away before it proc 3 times. This is a really nice change for Kennen. Definitely gonna make him like more healthy and less awkward to play with. Neela. So Neela. She actually has been nerfed, but her bonus attack speed has been buffed to 60%, and the critical strike chance damage modifier has been nerfed of 20%. I would say like she's not necessarily nerfed or buffed, she's just adjusted like they said. I wouldn't say like she's gonna be like less healthy or more healthy. I just think this is like really random change. I don't think she's gonna be impacted too much by that. Sejuani, 75% bonus armor and magic resistance. Like this is what I see right now in the passive. That's crazy. Actually, that makes her super crazy. Everything about her kit has been buffed, like literally everything. 4% of her maximum health, 8% of her maximum health, 12%, and before it was 2% less on pretty much everything. I think we're going back to Sejuani meta, especially because now like low eco junglers are just so prevalent in solo queue and also pro play, to be fair. So I definitely think Sejuani is going to be like A tier / S tier next patch. She's gonna be insane, actually. I wouldn't say I'm like too excited about that, just because I'm not a big fan of playing against Sejuani. I like playing her, but oftentimes like when Sejuani is meta, like the game becomes very unfun, and that is also true. Skarner changes, well deserved. Thank you very much. So, Adoration growth is actually buffed. Okay. The Q damage has been lowered, so not by a lot, to be honest. There's no real change here. Like we're talking about 5 damage. 5, 10, 15, and 20. That's actually nothing, because most of your damage from your Q comes from your bonus health. Let's see what they changed though. Removed. Q no longer refers to buff duration upon attacking wards or plants. I guess, whatever. W, the slow 20% at all ranks. I like it. And the shield also has been nerfed by 1%. I wouldn't say the nerf here is a big nerf. I still think Skarner is going to be like very overpowered, like they mentioned. He's still going to be like very much meta. I don't think that's gonna change too much, honestly. I think we're Gucci with everything. Oh, never mind. The small changes. So they have the big changes and the small changes. Honestly, like most of these changes are not massive. All right, what do we have for Ari? Nerfing the uptype. So the damage is lowered by 5 at all ranks. On W, that's okay. That's fine, I guess. The R. Okay, so the R cooldown is 10 seconds more coming in the mid game and 20 seconds more during the late game. I just think this is a result of like Malignance being such a like a badly designed item. I truly think that they did quite a good job with the item changes, but when it comes to like Malignance, I really feel like they completely failed with this item. That so many champions can just make use of Malignance and they instantly became like mega broken. Like we're talking about Corki, we're talking about Ari, we're talking about Kassadin, Zyra, Brand, even Karthus to some extent. Yeah, I think the item is just super unhealthy on a lot of champions, and I don't like the Malignance meta, to be honest. Like I really don't think this item is healthy for the game, and I definitely feel like the game would be better without it. So yeah. Amumu, base AD and base armor increase, so like faster clear and more tanky, I guess. I think Amumu is quite a healthy champion for the game, just like a little bit low in terms of win rate, just because he doesn't necessarily have like the faster clear, and honestly, like the best way to play Amumu right now is essentially like the Conqueror playstyle, and really try to go like for skirmishes with like Sunfire Cape, etc. Aurelian Soul. So the E damage has been decreased by 20%. I think that's not gonna be a big change. I think most of the reason as to why Aurelian Soul is in the state that he is right now is mostly because of the fact that Rylai's is such a strong item on him. He has so much control over the game coming like in the mid to late game, especially because he can proc like his ultimate on all people 100% effectiveness, especially like when he hits his ult and there's like this big wave, like Rylai's would just proc on pretty much everyone, and his Q can just be instantly cast. I feel like Aurelian Soul really has this issue of being like this weird champion in the meta that when he is changed or buffed or nerfed, he's either like completely useless and no one will play him, or overpicked and just breaks the game in so many different ways. And I feel like Aurelian Soul is like one of those champions. I would say like if you really want to nerf Aurelian Soul, I would say his Q damage not on minions but on champions should be tuned by a little bit. Blitzcrank change. I don't know what's going on with Blitzcrank. Like, I don't even know why they're changing it, to be honest. I don't think Blitzcrank is broken by any means or deserves like a nerf. The passive shield duration is 4 seconds now, as well as the bonus movement speed being lowered. No idea why they're changing him. Like, the reason as to why Blitzcrank is high win rate is because people are not aware of Blitzcrank in the first place. Like if you have good vision, if you have blue wards, you know exactly that Blitzcrank is here at this exact time in the fog of war, like you have no problem whatsoever. I don't think this champion deserves like a nerf. Evelyn, slow decrease are increased. Okay, well the slow is nice. This is a good nerf. This is a very, very good nerf. I think the fact that Evelyn's slow coming from her W like made no sense to begin with, because you had to proc your W and then pretty much hit someone with your Q in order to like slow them by 65%. That's close to being a root in the first place. Like this is a 65% slow. And people would just abuse that. So coming in the mid game, like you weren't even charming people anymore. You were just slowing people and that's it. I would even nerf the slow to like 30% to be honest here. I think like the reason as to why Evelyn was an interesting champion to begin with is because you essentially had to charm people and go like at a certain time in order to even get a pick. Nowadays, like you just go with Lich Bane, Magi's, Rabadons, you just like press 1 ER and your target is dead. Doesn't matter like if it's a tank or something else, you're just one-shotting everyone. There are damage being decreased is nice too, honestly. When it comes to Janna, finally they did something to Janna, but it's not what I hoped, honestly. They changed the damage, but they didn't change the movement speed. Like the problem with Janna is not the damage. No one cares about Janna's damage. Like when you're firsting like Janna, you're not scared that she's gonna do too much damage. You're scared because she's gonna be roaming from top to bot in like 2 seconds. And she's super unpredictable. Like in a 2 versus 2 fight, like let's say you're against like a 2 versus 2 fight is a top laner and a jungler, and you're with a top laner as a Janna. Chances are you will win this 2v2 just because Janna is such a neutralizer. She provides so much to every single fight when she's actually fed that it's just super obnoxious to play against. But her being there in the first place is what people don't really anticipate because she is so fast. So I don't think this is a good nerf at all. Jinx, art cooldown increased. Okay, whatever. Karma, so this is an interesting one. So the slow now is actually higher, and the AoE shielding is also higher, and the movement speed is high. So they're really trying to put back Karma in her support state, and not really as a mid laner, but what they're not realizing is by doing this, Karma is going to become an even better mid laner, in the sense that a lot of people have been playing Karma with Malignance and Horizon Focus and just perma spamming Q, doing a lot of damage, carrying games, being super obnoxious in skirmishes. But now she's gonna be even more obnoxious in the skirmishes because her shielding is higher, the bonus movement speed is higher, the slow is gonna be higher. So I'm really gonna see like a lot of Karma mid with Jax jungle, I feel like. Alright, Kassadin. I mean, I would say like Kassadin like really has this issue of Malignance being way too broken on him and the R damage being way too high. I don't think like the E damage being decreased is gonna do too much, except maybe like in the laning phase gonna have like less solo kills against mages, but especially when it comes to like the mid to late game, this is basically gonna have like no change, no impact on it whatsoever. Alright, Malzahar. Malzahar mana cost have been extremely lowered on his Q during the early game, so he's pretty much going to be able to spam it like a lot more, and when it comes to his E, the cooldown is way lowered as well, so he's definitely going to have like a lot more impact. I would say like Malzahar is not really like this type of mage that we see a lot in solo queue because his cooldown's being way too high and his mana cost being high, so definitely gonna seem like a lot more now. Mastery, E bonus true damage being decreased. I would say this is a good change. I would say Mastery has been overpicked a lot by OTPs, and his early game dueling was really high, mostly because of his E, to be honest. Like, a lot of people would just like use his E, use the W reset on auto attacks and then Q, and just pretty much one-shotting everyone. Like, there was nothing you could really do against like a Mastery. I would say like the main issue that I have with Mastery right now is his W cooldown being way too low. So even if he's like in a losing situation with his W, like you already know that 6 seconds later you have your W back again. So you can essentially use your W as an auto attack reset and then use your W again to like tank the last bit of damage if you mess up, which I think is not very healthy for the champion. And I definitely think that before they actually buffed the W, he was in a much healthier state. Okay, Olaf. Olaf has been buffed and now nerfed again, so I feel like they're just trying to revert Olaf to being like this champion that's not very like strong, and definitely honestly like Olaf, it was a healthy champion before the nerfs that he got. I definitely think that he was a really fun solo queue champion as well as pro play in the jungle, and the fact that they kind of removed that makes it like a little bit sad, to be honest. So he has more damage on the bonus to monsters, so the bonus damage to monsters is higher, but his Q damage on champions has been lowered, which I guess it's fine. The passive resistances is probably like a little bit too much. Like we're talking about 5 to 10 on his R level 11, level 16. Yeah, so it's gonna be like super squishy, and a lot more people are gonna start like building him as just full damage slash bruiser with like Sunder Sky, etc. We'll see how it goes, but I don't think Olaf is gonna be too often picked, that's for sure. Alright, Pike. Mana cost higher on a W and the cooldown has been higher. I feel like this is a healthy change. Pike W is just way too low in terms of the cooldown, and the fact that it comes up like 2 seconds later is definitely gonna be like a game changer, in the sense that it is a healthy nerf, but it's not a bad one. I like this nerf. It's good. Q AP ratio increased. Honestly, like, I don't know what they're doing with Seraphine, I'll be honest. Like, they're changing her, they're buffing her, they're nerfing her, the community doesn't like it, they're changing her again. Like, I have no idea what's going on with Seraphine. Like, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Talia, mana cost increased and damage to monster decreased. Very healthy. I think Talia is just way too strong right now in the jungle. She does too many things, too good. Like, her clear is insane, her damage is insane, her burst is insane, her poke is insane. I like it. I like it. It's really good. I think this is a very deserved nerf. But I would say, like, the damage to champions should also be decreased, to be honest, by a little bit. Twitch base health decreased by 50. Okay. And the slow is also decreased on the W, so like people that go AP Twitch are gonna have like decreased slow on the AP. And the R bonus damage. I think Twitch for a very long time has been really strong in solo queue based of the fact that, you know, his early game base HP was just super high, so you could basically just go for the 60 extra health and pretty much win every single fight whatsoever, because most of the time like your support is going to go for like Lulu or even Yumi. And the fact that you could just ghost and just run someone down like in the super early game definitely made like a lot of change. I would say like the state of AD Twitch right now is just really good, as well as the AP state, but he just snowballs way too hard. But when he is not fed, like, he doesn't really do much if he doesn't have the correct support. So he's like a very weird and niche champion, to be honest. Better in solo queue, worse in pro play. Urgot. So the armor growth on Urgot has been lowered. Not a big change. I don't think this is going to change too much. Checking on Twitter's side, we have a lot of changes. I'm just gonna make like a brief summary because I don't want the video to be too long, but essentially Corki has been changed, summoner spells have been changed, runes have been changed / removed. A lot of ADC items have been buffed. I'm gonna invite you to check that out for yourself, whereas the video will just last 2 hours. But yeah, I'm gonna put the link in the description down below. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you think about the current changes made to the game. And yeah, if you would like to get coached by me, make sure to check the link down in the description down below, guys. See you later. Bye bye.